morning, everyone, and welcome to Wake Up Missoula. My name is Noelle McAvoy.
And I'm Scott Ramf.
And that was Asaph Adonai on piano with that lovely tune that is very recognizable.
Yes. Yeah, it's a theme to Jeopardy.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of stuff going on today. First, I want to throw out there, just get it out of the way. As I went to the University of Montana College campus the other day to hang flyers for our Doing 72 contest, and I just got to say, well, going to back to college is like visiting the zoo for sure. Like back in my day, redheads were a little more.
Esteemed,
a little more sporadic, like you don't rare, I would say. But now I was like, oh look,
oh look at all those redheads.
There's just a lot of redheads. That's what I noticed.
Scott hates redheads.
I don't hate redheads. I just noticed them more than others.
That's terrible. That sounds pretty racist.
It's not racist. It's just like there's more like redheads there. I mean, there's a couple fake redheads there for sure.
Ooh, yeah.
Like the really super dark redhead stuff.
Yeah, you're like, that's not even real.
It wasn't. And then they punched me in the face and I cried.
That sounds like a tough day at campus.
That sounds like, yeah.
Don't go back.
You gotta be tough at campus.
You really do.
Yeah. But of course the weather, you have to be a little tougher for this weather outside. It is currently 43 degrees outside. With that segue, you have a high of 51, 70% chance of showers. I haven't really checked outside just recently, but when I came to work here today, it wasn't raining at all, but you can expect showers later today, and it's going to lower down by tonight. But of course, Thursday we're going to have the same chance of showers Thursday night, and then Friday you can expect partly sunny, and Saturday throughout the weekend you can have a nice sunny weekend with cool weather into the 60-degree weather.
Sounds nice. Yeah, that'll be a good weekend for sure. Do you have a lot going on this weekend, Scott?
That's what I know of.
No,
I always forget. It's the weekend before homecoming week, and I didn't get last week. The last 2 weekends has kind of been like, but this weekend is gonna be fun.
Yes.
I plan to have a lot of fun doing. I have no idea what, but I'm just gonna figure something out. I usually just like wing it. I just like, oh, I'm gonna go this way. Oh, that looks interesting. I'm gonna go check it out. Oh, this is kind of fun. All right, I'm kind of bored. I'm gonna leave, and that's how it works.
Sounds good. Yeah, sounds like your weekend.
That's like my kind of weekend right there. Go where things look interesting. Yes, I live for the weekends. But of course, this week it's going to be
Wednesday.
Interesting. We have a lot of different shoots. I have a public speaking thing I got to do tomorrow, which it probably doesn't even seem like a public speaking thing. I think it's just like we're just all hanging out. I stand up and there's like, hey, MCAT's great. This is just a wonderful place to be.
Yeah.
And you can find out more information about Wake Up Missoula by logging on to wakeupmissoula.wix.com/Wake Up Missoula. I've been fluffing that so much lately, but I've been so good about it now.
Good job, Scott.
You can contact us via our Contact Us tab. You can also go to our Facebook page where we post all sorts of wonderful things. You could follow Wake Up Missoula on our Twitter page. I have to update this photo because I still have that haircut.
I know, that
back in the
picture's
day.
hilarious. You can also like Missoula Community Access Television on Twitter, as well as MCAT on Facebook.
And of course, I do need to show this picture that Ron took. I asked him to post it on our MCAT page because he hiked out Mount Sentinel, and people decided to
bring a couch up
Bring
there.
a couch. Wow. But of course it matches the M, so it really blends in very nicely with the contrast, especially when you're looking down from the summit at the M. So
that's hilarious. Those people that brought that up, good job.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
But of course you can find out even more information on
our website, Missoula Community Access Television, MCAT.org. We are still seeking 2 volunteer board members to help us out with our finances.
So if you're
a
community leader, or you want to be a community leader, you can join our board and talk about our financial future as Missoula Community Access Television. I think we're mostly looking for some businesses to help invigorate our nonprofit into a kind of like a fundraising type deal.
MCAT is going through a small transition right now.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's good. It's a good transition. It's good for us.
But of course, I do have some videos.
Awesome.
For this week in new programming. We have another part of the Celtic Fest, and that's happening tonight at 9:30. And here's a little taste of it. Of course, I probably showed you guys this a couple months ago when the Celtic Fest was happening, but I want to show you this, and you can watch all the performances of the Celtic Festival. I think it's like every Wednesday night forever. It seems like
for months.
for months. We just had it on the other day, and it was the Irish band that was playing at just off of the little park next to Caris Park.
Cool.
All right, but here is dancers, Irish dancers, Celtic dancers, or whatever you like to call them. It's like it gets more interesting when they add more people. Anyways, yeah, but that's what you can see at 9:30 p.m. tonight, and then on the 19th at 7 p.m.
Great,
yep.
Yeah.
But of course, I do have a very special video I want to show because it is Asaph Cafe's 50th episode that's happening on Thursday. So it's the very special episode where our very own Missoula Mayor John Engen visited Asaph for Asaph Cafe, and I'm going to show
about that too.
Yeah, and I'm going to show a little bit about it. But this is the actually premiere of the episode, the 50th episode, and that's happening tomorrow at 5.
A special edition of Asaph Cafe. I'm really humbled because this is our 50th show this very day. 50 Asaph Cafes. That's a lot of shows. And so on my immediate left here, we have the Honorable Mayor John Engen, who is our guest for this special edition of Asaph Cafe today. And of course, Linda Brooks Curtis. She's one of our regulars that's been with us, and we have all the food here. Patty's not able to be with us today, and our mascot Pee-wee, unfortunately, is not going to be able to be here today.
All right, so you can see all of that happening today and tomorrow on Missoula Community Access Television, channel 189.
Yeah, that looks
via
like
Charter Communications.
What were you guys eating?
Oh, I think we had meatloaf that day. I can't remember. I had to look it up again.
Meatloaf, that sounds awesome.
You brought a lot of special food for that day. You had velvet cake or something.
Yeah, it's provided by the Missoula Senior Center. They provide the food for that show.
Oh, that's nice of them.
Yeah.
That's really nice of them. That's awesome.
But I do have some city council later today, but first we're going to get to Noelle's events. Because she's talking all sorts of wonderful events that are happening this week, and we'll also have Asaph with his 8 musical notes featuring that one song that he played at the beginning of the show, if you were here at the beginning.
So starting at the University of Montana at 9 a.m. this morning, this is our first event, is a roundtable on the Crown of the Continent conference. So they are going to be, this is for anyone, and they are going to be talking about how it is to live in the Crown of the Continent landscape, as well as different things about it. Yeah, it pretty much just says living in the 18 million acre Crown of the Continent landscape. So it sounds like it's pretty broad, but it's about that topic. And then there is another Smart Schools 2020 open house over at Paxson School.
They're going to keep doing this until you vote for them.
Yes, they will. So they're discussing the current status of the technology infrastructure in our schools. And then over at Guest House Inn and Suites, they are having a discussion. You can talk to an insurance expert. So insurance experts from Commissioner Lindine's office will be talking to people about insurance claims and repairs after last month's windstorm. Yeah, so that's kind of nice. So there's a chance to get one-on-one attention for insurance questions and complaints. So that's located at 3803 Brook Street, and that starts at 3 p.m. today. And then over at Great Bird Brewing Company, they've got a Garden City Harvest Charity Pint Night. 50 cents from each beer sold will go to the Help with Garden City Harvest. And then over at the Rhino, they're having a bourbon whiskey tasting. So 8 bourbons for $25, starts at 5 p.m. Each pour will be a fourth to a third of an ounce. And then over at the Missoula International School, there's a Lower Rattlesnake Neighborhood Leadership Meeting. They're talking about consideration of letter of support for the Rattlesnake Neighborhood Plan and growth policy. Also concerns about the roundabout design on Orange Street and Van Buren, and public comment on non-agenda items.
Yes, and also at the same place at 6 o'clock, they have the Ward 1 City Council, I think it's more like, because they're having the elections this year, and you get to vote on your new city ward member, city council member. So the city council is going through a dramatic change, and they're gonna have 6, maybe 4 to 6 new members, because a bunch of the people who were running, who have the seat, are not running again. Yep. Like Ed Childers is going away. He's one of the longest city council members. He's leaving. Jason Viner's leaving. Wow. Who else? Emily Bentley, I think. Adam Hurts too.
And what about Patrick Weaselhead?
Patrick Weaselhead is fighting for his seat. This is the official election. He took over for Caitlin Koppel.
Yeah.
And this is his official election.
Wow.
To see if he's going to beat out the person he beat out before. You know, like the same guy is running against him who ran against him in the I guess to take Caitlin Koppel's seat, but now it's the actual election, so I think it's Degrassi or something. I don't know. I may be thinking about that Drake show from Canada. Anyways, just look up more information. The City of Missoula website.
Yeah, the candidates forum for Ward 1 will be at the Missoula International School starting at 6 p.m. Ward 1 includes Upper Rattlesnake, Lower Rattlesnake, Heart of Missoula, and the North Side.
And even me, apparently.
Yeah. So if you're interested in that, go check that out. Over at the Holiday Inn downtown Missoula is the Peak Tennis Pro auction. So this is benefiting the Watson Children's Center. It starts at 6. It's a night that includes a live auction of 32 local, regional, ATP, and WTA professionals, including 6 internationally recognized tennis professionals. So they're auctioning off tennis professionals. No, I'm kidding. I don't know what they're doing. It's something. So it's a tennis pro auction. Yeah, maybe it's like their racket. Check it out.
If you want to date a tennis pro, you can buy them.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, and then also over at Lewis and Clark, they're also doing the 2020 open house. So that starts at 6 p.m. if you want to find out more information about that. And then over at Natural Grocers, they're talking about building meals for superhero health, which is a little cheesy to say that, but yeah, so they're just talking about fueling up with nutrient-dense food that give endurance to leap tall buildings in a single bound. I know, that's what it says on there.
You know, some places actually cannot say that without being sued.
And really?
There's like so many people who have been suing people for the littlest things and like, oh, I can't leap a tall building in single bound. I broke my nose against the building. It's like, well, you know, we're joking. Well, you wrote it down. It's the same thing with like all these like even anybody who sells coconut water says it's good for hydration, and like they got sued because it actually doesn't. So you got to be careful with what you say, especially nowadays. So.
Yes, you really do.
Just saying.
People are Sue happy.
Yes, I love Sue happy.
I love soup. Okay, so the Salvation Army, they have got a River Road Neighborhood City Council meeting, or Neighborhood Council Leadership meeting. So their agenda items are a tour of the new Salvation Army, plan and prepare for upcoming candidates forum, and public comment on non-agenda items. And then over at the Roxy Theater, they're showing Amadeus. This is put on by the Office of International Programs at the University of Montana. It's free. It's part of their annual foreign film series. This year's theme is music and will feature 4 films this fall. So this is the first one. I've got a trailer of it.
We probably shouldn't show that trailer.
Oh, no? You think it's super copyrighted?
Oh, no, it's super copyrighted. Because it's like won a lot of best pictures, but it was like describing the trailer. If you don't know Amadeus Mozart, you know, it's basically the lovingly ripped off from his life story of him basically being played by a comedian from Animal House. Yeah. And then you got another actor. It's basically just kind of like him, but it's basically he's a genius. Mm-hmm. And then you see this one guy who's jealous of him. And
but he's like super vulgar and inappropriate and crude. Yeah. But he's plays
according to it's the Victorian age.
Yeah. 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 That's about it. If you guys want to, you can go to theroxytheater.com or no, theroxytheater.org /film/Amadeus, and you can watch the trailer on there. Yeah. Okay, and then, so over at the First United Methodist Church, they're doing a flamenco class. And so they're doing the world-renowned guitarist Carlos Lomas and powerhouse cantor Vicente
Grigo.
Yeah, Grigo appear together in concert. So they're just gonna be playing some music. That sounds great. $15 at First United Methodist Church. And then over the Top Hat Lounge, Todd Snyder and Elizabeth Cook will be playing music. Starts at 8. And then over at Stage 112, comedian Todd Barry with special guest Chris Fairbanks is going to be at Stage 112 at 8 p.m. So Todd Banks is widely recognized for his role as the bongo-playing Third Concorde on HBO's Flight of the Conchords. And then Mickey Rourke's Deli Boss, and 2009 Oscar winner, The Wrestler. So he's also been on Comedy Central. He's had a couple like 1 hour presentation stand-ups on Comedy Central. He's been on all the late night talk shows, hung out with all those cool comedians, done lots of tours. So he's been everywhere. So he will be for $20 tonight at 8 p.m.
Cool.
Yeah. And then we've got some karaoke. So karaoke is at the Eagles Lodge at 8:30. Karaoke is at the Badlander at 9. Karaoke is at the Sunrise Saloon at 9. And then we have a Milk Crate Wednesday at the Palace at 9, which is electronic music.
What?
Yeah. So that's what's going on for your Wednesday events. Up next, we've got Asaph segment.
Before there was Alex Trebek, there was a man named Art Fleming, and he hosted this game from 1964 to 1978. And of course, the game we're talking about is Jeopardy! Let's show that clip first.
The round is over, and only the two high-scoring players will compete in Double Jeopardy for the right to play the Super Jeopardy bonus. Good luck to you all. What do you say? Let's play Jeopardy! Now the categories
You can see how primitive that game was at that time. They didn't win much money back in those days.
Yeah, I bet the guy who's like changing the scenes in the background, just like, I did this to put my kid through college.
Yeah. But anyway, this man here was Art Fleming, and I know who he is because my parents used to watch him. And this is how Jeopardy was originally. This was the original Jeopardy game. And Alex Trebek started hosting that game in 1984 till present. And you can see you only got like $25, $50, and so on.
Yeah.
At the time.
They just added some zeros to it. It's like, okay, that's good.
Yeah, and it just wasn't much. But anyway, Jeopardy is an American television game. It was created by Merv Griffin. And of course, Merv Griffin was a famous talk show host like Johnny Carson. And that will be for another subject because they had like, Carson and Merv Griffin had their nighttime shows, and they were kind of like dueling it out all the time. But anyway, getting back to Jeopardy, the show features a quiz competition in which contestants are presented with general knowledge clues in the form of answers, and they must phrase their responses in the form of questions. Now, the original daytime version debuted on NBC March 30th, 1964, and it aired till January 3rd, 1975. That's this version of Jeopardy here. You can see Art Fleming was a very handsome young man. And he just had that look, that game show
Host look.
Like Bob Barker, you know, when Bob Barker was young. They had a slew of game show hosts that just had the look.
I remember that Bob Barker had, he dyed his hair for 5 years before he was just like, oh, forget this, and his hair was white.
Yeah.
Well, this guy never had that problem. He looked like this all the years that he hosted Jeopardy. And then the show went into nighttime syndication for a season, and then it had a revival called the All New Jeopardy, which ran in 1978 to 79. And both versions were hosted by Art Fleming, and Don Pardo was the original announcer, and then John Harlan took over in 78 as the announcer. And of course, the current announcer is Johnny Gilbert. You might hear that name when you hear Alex Trebek talking about it. There were 7,000 episodes that aired since its beginning, and it won a record 31 Daytime Emmy Awards. And it also got honored by the Peabody Award, and it was ranked in 2013 as number 45 in TV Guide's list of 60 greatest shows on American television history. So that's kind of a cool history of Jeopardy.
Yeah, that's neat. Thanks, Asaph. That's cool. And it's still kicking, right?
Still kicking.
Wow. It's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Cute little Jeopardy.
Cute Jeopardy.
All right.
Jeopardy's older than both of us combined, probably.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I was a little boy when I used to watch that show. So
Okay, maybe that. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, I was still learning how to talk in 1964, so that gives you an idea how far back that goes.
Oof.
Oh yeah.
Weren't you born in the 90s?
No.
No, you were.
Yeah.
No, I was born in the 90s.
I was born in 92.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Well.
wow.
Come on.
Oh.
It's so annoying when people say that. Oh my god.
Oh my god, you're a millennial. Back in my day, I was golden age. or whatever.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. Oh, 90s.
People still don't think that I look like I'm like old enough to drink. Like anytime I hand my ID, they're like, I'm like, yeah, I'm legal, and they're like, oh, you didn't look like it.
You don't look like it.
Okay, well, thanks, because you look
very
really
young,
old.
that's for sure.
Great, thanks, Asaph.
Oh, you're welcome.
You have to look really old and worn out to not be carded and drinking.
Well, I'm glad
like
that I
me.
look really young. Maybe I'll age like George Clooney.
Or like me.
Yeah.
Old man Ram.
Yeah, old man Ram. I'll just get all angry.
Yeah, just be angrier. Just look angrier.
Well, I'm gonna be very older next month, so I'm getting there.
Oh yeah, your birthday's coming up.
Yeah, 57.
Ooh.
Nice. Wow.
So I'm getting there.
Sweet. All right, well, this is what's going on tomorrow for your events. So, at the University of Montana, starting at 9 a.m. tomorrow, there's a forum on marketing analytics. That just sounds wild.
That sounds amazing.
Crazy. So you can engage with business leaders sharing their stories and perspectives, learn about the latest analytical tools and communication strategies, learn from a diverse network. You can engage in critical discussion about using marketing analytics today, as well as preparing analysts and managers to use marketing analytics in the future.
I'm reading over your shoulder, and all I see is a lot of engage, and I'm just like, hey, I just want to keep this talk professional.
Yeah,
I don't want to
wanna
engage in anything.
Please, I'm so young.
Settle down.
And then this next event is, I think, either Ron or Joel is filming this. This is over at the Missoula
Joel.
Public Library. It's the Missoula Food Bank's Food for Thought discussion series. This month's topic is when a home isn't in the budget, barriers to affordable housing in Missoula. Yeah, so Joel will go over and film that tomorrow. You guys can go over and check that out as well. And it'll also be on our program later on this fall.
Nice.
And then over at the MCT, they are doing Little Red in the Hoods, which is a little educational play. It's happening at 1 p.m. and also 7 p.m. tomorrow.
It's, man, I love the children's theater plays. They would just, have, a little tongue-in-cheek type of stuff. And
They do. It's funny.
And the guy who writes them is, the director at MCT. He also writes most of the songs for the plays, and it's like, wow, don't you think you should let someone else do that while you run MCT?
Yeah, right? No, he loves it.
He just loves doing it, and it's great. And he always comes, and it's always a lot of tongue in cheek. And of course, it's Red Riding Hood.
Yeah.
And they just take old, stories like Aladdin and stuff, and just kind of throw their own little twist to it.
Update them.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them has to do with female independence for sure.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It's not always just a princess, but she's also independent.
Yeah, has her own job. Good job.
Yes. And her own palace at the same time.
But she pays for herself.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so over at the Fort Missoula Native Plant Garden in Fort Missoula, they're having a Soup and Spud Fest. So you can check out the plant garden while eating soup and spuds for only $5. You get soup, spuds with fixins, and drinks. All proceeds benefit programming for adults and kids at the outdoor learning space. Kids are welcome. You don't have to leave your child at home. Okay, and then over at Draftworks Brewing Company, Hardward Heart is playing at 6 p.m. tomorrow. And then this next event is pretty interesting. So over at the Holy Spirit Episcopal Church, this is put on by NCBI Missoula and YMCA Missoula. They're going to be discussing racial justice. So it's a racial justice teaching and vigil. And so it's been 15, I do believe it's either Thursday or Friday that it's been 15-month anniversary of one of the shooting. I think it was Eric Brown in New York City, the black man that was killed by a white officer. And then it's also been 3 months since that the church in North Carolina, or was it? I think it was North Carolina, was gunned down by the white supremacists. And so they're talking about.
No, it was I just gotta be perfectly clear about this. Mm-hmm. It is random act of violence of some kid who basically went to the church and he killed a bunch of people, and he used race as a crutch to justify his action. Mm-hmm. He doesn't. He just said it because it's probably he was really angry and he wanted.
Yeah, well, I don't know. There are a lot of other factors.
There's a lot of other factors, but it's definitely a random act of violence that
Well, I think he was. I think he targeted that church because he would go there all the time. But I'm not quite sure on all the details of that. But either way, they're doing a racial justice teaching and vigil at the Holy Spirit Episcopal Church. So that starts at 6 p.m. tomorrow if you want to get involved in that. And then over at Lolo Peak Brewing Company is Paul Cataldo. Starts at 6. And then over at Hellgate Elementary School, they're doing a Captain John Mullen Neighborhood Council meeting. So lots of neighborhood council meetings going on this week. So you can enjoy some fried chicken and meet your neighbors. So they'll have fried chicken, which kind of beats out all the other council meetings. So they are going to be talking about leadership, team elections, England Boulevard, SID, and public comment on non-agenda items.
It's all if you live up on Mullen Road.
Yeah.
Elmer Estates, 44 Ranch, that kind of area. They're talking about like putting some money into their new high school for sure.
Oh, cool.
That's their new push. They're not part of the Missoula County District.
Oh, they're not.
So they want to fund their own school. So that means they would have to tax the people in that area. So good luck with that.
Yeah, have fun.
That's their plan.
Over at the Union Hall and Bar, they're doing a play. So it starts at 6:30 p.m. tomorrow. It's called Look Back in Anger. And it's about a man that's disillusioned with his life, his country, and his culture. Yeah. And so it's complex, engaging, and shocking. So it shows us the tragic outcomes of unbridled passions beyond our control. Cool. Sounds cool, yeah. 6:30 tomorrow at the Union Club. And then they are showing Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban at the Roxy Theater at 7 tomorrow. That's part of their, I do believe they're showing just like a bunch of Harry Potter movies.
Yep, they're doing every Harry Potter once a week.
That's awesome.
And a friend of mine, she said she's going to go to every single one.
I know, that's great.
Why didn't you just...
I wish I could.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we've got some music for tomorrow night. Martin Sexton will be at the Top Hat Lounge at 8. There is open mic at the Eagles Lodge. There's open mic at the Broadway. Dead Hips are at the Badlander at 9. Karaoke at the Dark Horse at 9. The Crawford Brothers Band will be at the Sunrise Saloon at 9. And Abstract, Rude, and Scarab will be at the Palace at 9. I feel so white bread saying some names like that. Yeah. I'm just like, wow, that sounds real. Yeah. But that's what's going on for your events for Thursday. Check out MissoulaEvents.net. You can check out The Independent, the newspaper, the University of Montana's website. But now we're going to switch gears again because we've got some city council with Scott.
Yes. This Saturday, besides it being spontaneous construction, all day from 9 to 6 at the oh my God. Ugh. Where's that happening? It's at Home Resource.
Yeah.
So you can check that out at South Flower Soul. But also, that particular day is National Gymnastics Day. Oh. And here is John Engen with the proclamation.
Readers are available to me, and they're just my fashion choice as well, Kelly. So, ladies and gentlemen, whereas Mismo Gymnastics and all other USA Gymnastics member clubs across the nation annually celebrate National Gymnastics Day to showcase the sport of gymnastics and to encourage and promote physical fitness among our nation's youth, and whereas gymnastics provides a great foundation for building strength, flexibility, and fitness, and also for life skills, enhancing self-esteem and goal-setting abilities, and whereas Mismo's National Gymnastics Day celebration seeks to promote the value of physical fitness and good nutrition for everyone, regardless of age, gender, and ability level, thank heavens, and whereas on National Gymnastics Day, Mismo Gymnastics, along with gymnastics clubs across the United States, partners with USA Gymnastics to heighten visibility of the sport and encourage participation at the grassroots level. And whereas collectively, our nation, our state, Mismo Gymnastics, and USA Gymnastics strive to encourage greatness and achievement in our young people. Now, therefore, I, John Engen, Mayor of the City of Missoula, in the state of Montana, do hereby proclaim September 19th, 2015, in Missoula, Montana, as National Gymnastics Day, and that's
awesome.
All right.
Cool.
Of course, there's a little more on this because we have this is Kelly Durbin Williams. She's from Mismo Gymnastics, and of course, you mentioned Mismo, like TNT, all their drop-ins and all their stuff they have all the time.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on.
And she's the one who is from there. She's representing them, and she just wanted to give a great thank you. And, of course, they have an event happening this Saturday. So I'm going to let her explain it.
Cool.
hopefully you guys know, but if you don't, Missoula, Montana is going to be host to the Level 9 Western Championships, which is going to be bringing about $1 million in revenue into our city. But more importantly, it's going to really put Missoula on the map for the sport of gymnastics. So I just want to thank you, because what started out every year as Mayor reading that really long proclamation and, telling us about his floor routine, it has really stemmed into something huge. And both Bitterett and Mismo have worked really hard. And I just want to reiterate what you guys do for all the small businesses, whether it's the Missoula Marathon or, you just never know what little thing you're putting your energy behind, that little moment of reading a long piece of paper, what that's actually going to do for our city and our economic development and our athletes, and of course where those athletes are going to go. So I wanted to take that moment to thank you for what truly started out as something like, here will you read this piece of paper and say it's National Gymnastics Day, and it's built us up, and it's built Bitterett up, and it's built our athletes up to places that I don't even think you guys can begin to imagine at this point. So my gratitude. And if you guys have children or just like free food, come out to Mismo on Saturday from 1 to 4. Some of our higher level athletes will tumble. It's pretty impressive, and we'd love to have you, but thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I do have a continuation of a clip, and of course, this is Mayor John Eng, and he's talking a little more. I just wanted to show this because I thought this was really funny, but this is more of this clip.
Miss being here.
Kelly, would you like to say your name for the record, please?
Kelly Durbin Williams.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, thanks, Kelly. And if you have never seen what they're doing out there, it is really remarkable, and I kid you not. What I would do, not so remarkable. So thank you again.
All right, so
Mayor John Eng,
Mayor,
you can do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you put your mind to.
He's so silly.
Okay, so now back to a serious note. Of course, the Wake Animal Ordinance prohibition was a result of the passing of the exotic animal ordinance. It's part of the exotical ordinance.
Animals.
The exotical ordinance must remain free. Anyways, the idea is that the Shriners weren't there. The Shriners weren't there, and there was an editorial and a couple complaints from the Shriners. So we have some more complaints, and they voted on this prohibition for the Exotic Animal Ordinance to prevent exotic animals from performing and being displayed during the circus or something that's like the circus or with any exotic animal. But of course, this is Grover Barr, and he's a Shriner, and this is what he had to say. Come on, there we go. And this is what he had to say.
At least 80% of our donations to the Shrine hospitals come from this circus. So I urge you to reconsider your vote, because this will affect our donations. This is, like I said, our largest donation that we give to the Shrine hospitals. Now, I understand that many of you have already made up your mind. I could tell just by the way you voted at the last meeting. However, I urge you to reconsider. We do not have anything in place, contrary to what some of you may believe, to take over that position of where we get our donations. And we do not turn down any child. Any child, pardon me, that comes to us for help, we help them. Doesn't matter their background or anything. So has anyone here been helped by the Shrine hospitals? Anyone in the audience? Good. I'm actually glad to see that. However, in the future, if any of you or your children need help, we will be there to help you. So thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Man,
so,
what a cheer. That was good. That was just be all sweet and make everyone feel guilty.
Yeah. So this is Ed Childers, and he shares his own personal story about how the Shrine Hospital helped him back in the day. But this is him basically him telling his story about when he was a kid.
So here's my story. In 1950, I was 3 years old. My dad was in the U.S. Army stationed in Japan, and my mother decided it was time to go visit relatives in Nebraska. So off we went in my uncle's new 1950 Ford. and visited relatives. And after a few days, morning came, and I woke up and I couldn't move my legs. That's polio. Now there's a vaccination and immunization to keep you from getting that. I won't go into the people that avoid the vaccination. I'll do that at some other time. But anyway, I had polio. So there was a trip to Omaha to the hospital. There were trip to the West Coast for surgeries. There was physical therapy. There were braces up to my waist. There was time passed. There were more trips. And my folks didn't have much money. The Army didn't pay much back in the day, and they got money from charitable organizations. And I don't know which ones. I'm pretty sure the Shriners were there for me when I was 3 years old. I'm not about to abandon the Shriners, and I would really like it if the ordinance said, well, if you bring your animals to Missoula, they need to comply with certain criteria, but that's not where we're going.
All right, so that's what Ed Schilder's background of why he is against the ordinance. Mm-hmm. But of course, we have Brian von Lossberg, and one of the critiques from the Shriners that Brian von Lossberg didn't do much research in terms of the Shriners and the Shriners Hospital. That's what Grover Barr said earlier in his quote, but I just took the tail end of his quote. And of course, he explains that that many other places have been doing circuses without exotic animals, mm-hmm. and this is the first. And he does say it himself, but I'm going to say it for him just to get it past there. Mm-hmm. But he mentions that there are other ways to do it, and that in California, that they stopped doing animal acts in circuses after 80 years. Wow. They did 80 years, and just this past year was their first year without animal acts, mm-hmm. and they went off without a hitch. So this is Brian von Lossberg with the continuation of that. So
I really, moving on, I really appreciate Ed's comments on this point. That is they're heartfelt, obviously, and on point. But again, this is absolutely, I absolutely do not view this as abandoning the Shriners, and I think it's wrong to look at it that way. And I hope that we'll be able, as a community, to prove that over time. I'm confident we will be. And the last thing I'll close with is just the very last point I made a few weeks ago, and that was a comment I had borrowed from some literature. The time is well overdue to reconcile what we know and what we do. And that is what this is about. It is a time to reconcile what we know about animal welfare needs with what we do.
Yep. So that's what Brian von Lossberg had to say about that. Of course, our last quote that I'm going to use is from Patrick Weaselhead, and he thinks the ordinance won't make a difference for protecting these animals. And he said, and he goes back to saying this, it's like, sure, this will prevent them from happening here in Missoula, which is great, but it's not enough. Mm-hmm. This is what he had to say.
Protect the public. Cut it at the bud when it begins to stop people from recruiting these animals so that they're not in the circus. Doing it now after they're out in the circus doesn't make sense because they're still out there practicing. It might not be in Missoula. It could be in Missoula County. It could be elsewhere. But we're not making that major change, that systemic change that I'd like to see. I know Missoula is seeking to be a humane to animals and a chance to be a front runner of this protection for animals. Missoula is a good place. Keep it weird, as we say for a lot of times. But I think it's important to understand that you have to take a look at both sides of this. Yet if there is truly a need to restrict circus-type behavior, it ought to start at the beginning. And that's why I voted against this. There has to be systemic change, and if you want to channel your energy, start it at the beginning so no animal is recruited to do this down the road. Right now, these animals were recruited, and they cannot go back into the wild. They cannot go back in the wild, as some of you might want to think. So I'm against this as well. Thanks.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, one of the arguments was that this should have been done from the source rather than doing through the government and the local city government. But, of course, it is just, and on the other side of it, the motion did pass the prohibition. They've re-talked about it again. But, of course, this may be the last time they're talking about the Exotic Animal Ordinance Act. But for right now, it was passed 8-3. Of course, Adam Hertz wasn't there in the meeting, but Ed Childers, Patrick Weaselhead, and I think Emily Bentley voted against this ordinance. But they had pretty solid grounds to do it for sure.
Interesting.
What do you think? What do you guys think?
I think that I agree with some of the city council members in the way that I think that they should start at the beginning, and I don't think that they should just banning the circus here isn't going to stop what's happening. You know, we need to put in specific things in place to control what they're doing to the animals rather than abandoning it altogether.
Because, you know, where the animals even come from, they're day by day they're being poached and killed. Like you heard about the whole Cecil the Lion thing. Yeah, that's just a whole nother issue. It's just they're there in their homeland free and doing whatever they want, but once they travel outside the refugees or whatever, they're shot. Or even they're baited to come out the refugees. They have a big rack of ribs or whatever hanging outside the animal sanctuary, and then the line goes outside the sanctuary, and boom.
So
it's crazy because a lot of times what a lot of organizations do to protect these animals is they take them away from their environment, which is not protecting them. You're putting a Band-Aid, but also you're putting them to depend on you. Because they don't know this
traumatic experience too. It's a whole different area. You know, that's not what their instincts are tailored for.
And even the instincts of the wolves that we have in Montana, they're not the native wolves. So we killed off all the native wolves here back in the day. And you have all these wolves that we bred from Canada. They got a couple breeding pairs, but now the population is getting out of control. There's a lot of them out and about. You have all these deer that are here. And then even I was just at the university campus, and I saw a deer just run across the campus. And it didn't even notice any of the people that were walking on the sidewalk. It was ridiculous. It was right by the Language Arts building. Yeah. But it's you really you got to take into account where the animals belong, but also you have to protect them where they're at. Yep. But who's protecting them where they're at?
Exactly.
Yeah. The only thing I ever see is I've seen pictures of the last white rhino. There's that one last white male rhino in existence, and there's he's an armed guard. There's armed guards around him with AK-47s. They're 4 of them just standing in front of the. That. Yeah. It's ridiculous. I mean it's just the local government.
It needs to start with the local government. It needs to start where it stems from the beginning, not just banning it, because that's I don't know. You know, that is revenue for our city. That's revenue for the Shriners people.
But I can understand you can use animal acts and that kind of stuff when there's not a population issue. You can have dog acts. Why don't they? Dogs are awesome. Dogs can do all sorts of crazy stuff. I mean.
Why don't you do that? Exactly. There are alternatives to using wild animals.
But of course, a lot of the issues that a lot of people had with these exotic animals was this going to affect the rodeos? People like their rodeos. People like riding bulls and riding horses.
I don't think of those as exotic animals, though. Those have been domesticated for
horses aren't even from America.
Yeah, but they've been domestic. You know, they've been domestic, and we've been having those for so long, for 100+ years. Yeah. That I don't even see those as wild animals. I would say wild animals as lions and tigers and bears of mine. Yeah. You know? Yeah, they're
just so
farms.
many. Yeah.
I don't see them.
You see a lion farm, people breed lions. And
if you saw a lion farm, then I'd be all right, cool. I don't know. Yeah. What do you think, Asaph?
I don't know. I don't have an opinion.
Try to have one.
Boy, circus was what you did.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean...
It's a tough issue for sure. There are a lot of pros and cons to it.
I mean, I didn't know any better for sure when I was a kid. I was one of those kids who went to a circus and was oh, cool, animals, yay. And I rode an elephant and everything like that. They had the elephant rides and...
I don't ever remember going to a circus. I don't think
I I haven't been to a circus since 6 or 7. Yeah. It's been a long time, but it's one of those things that you don't... really feel like you want to go to. But of course, many of the suggestions that the city council members made is like just have more human acts.
Yeah.
And a lot of the circus, what they did is like I've seen a lot of human acts. They have the ball of death, like the giant steel cage, and they drive their motocross in circles
why don't you do
around
that?
there.
That sounds great. Like
and trapeze.
There's lots of alternatives to using circus animals. Yeah, I agree.
The Shriners, all they have to do is just like get new bidders, like performances. That's how the Shriners do it. Is they usually like have a deal with these different organizations that deal with like, oh, it's Harry's animals, or it's Lucille's balls and whatever.
Yeah, and human acts are cool. Like there are a lot of really neat things that people have discovered and started to do these days.
Yeah, one of the city council members, he mentioned Circus du Soleil. That's another whole like human-based circus, and they do all these crazy stunts.
You don't need animals to suffice your circus. I think that's what they should have done, is just required the circus to have no animal acts and just people acts. And rather than just like abolishing it altogether.
I mean, like the Shriners have been dependent on the circus for so long. I mean, like they don't know how else they could do anything. They said 80% of the money that goes into their hospitals come from the circus.
Wow. Yeah.
And it's like the circus can always be there. You just don't need animals there. Like I've seen acts and all that stuff that don't necessarily require too many animals. So I don't really think of this as the end of something. I think it's just a new beginning for something even greater.
Yep.
Just think of that.
This doesn't fall into that political correctness with the animals, does it?
Oh, who knows? I have no idea.
Wondering.
I don't know what political correctness is, and I don't believe in political correctness.
It's almost like you can't do anything or say anything anymore these days without offending someone.
Oh, I know.
No, that's like impossible.
With these animals, if that's the same thing. I mean,
I don't know.
Animals don't believe in political correctness.
Well, maybe I don't think so. I think that they're trying to do animal welfare, but who knows?
I understand. I just was curious.
Just curious. Yeah, if it's really like more political than anything else.
I mean, the whole idea is like behind all these animals. Like, you like watching these animals do their thing and do that stuff. I was like, yeah, I do. Do you want your children to have the same experiences as you? He's like, yeah. Well, you got to protect the animals now so your kids can enjoy them in the future.
Yep.
That's exactly what the whole justification behind it is. And yeah, I mean, sure, some of the animals have good lives in captivity and pets, but they don't need us to live. You know, the animals can survive perfectly fine without us interfering with them.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what there's an argument that's been going on forever.
I agree.
Like it's like you can't have one side without the other. Like you have Teddy Roosevelt, who established Yellowstone National Park, and he's just like, yo, you got to protect these lands and all that stuff. Then you got him going on safari after his first presidency and shooting a lion, an elephant, all these animals. It's like, I want to kill them all. It's like, well, we should probably conserve these animals too, but we should kill them first.
Yeah.
I was like, but it's ridiculous. It's always like
backtrack.
It's ridiculous. How,
you'll always have one side or the other. People always.
And Teddy Roosevelt was all sides. Honestly.
Yeah, but Teddy Roosevelt was like 100 years ago.
But it's ridiculous what people do, for sure.
Yes, but also we just want to let you guys know that our opinions and thoughts expressed on Wake Up Missoula do not reflect Missoula Community Access Television, Charter Communications, or the City of Missoula. They are personal opinions. Yes. But we hope that you enjoyed our show today. If you want to find out more about Wake Up Missoula, you can check us out on our website, wakeupmissoula.wix.com/wakeupmissoula. You can like us on our Facebook page. You can like us on Twitter. You can also like Missoula Community Access Television on Twitter. And then if you want to find out more information about MCAT, you can like us on Facebook too. Yeah. Yep. And then go to MCAT.org. Yep. Yeah. So for Wake Up Missoula, my name is Noelle McAvoy.
And I'm Scott Ramp.
We'll see you Friday. This is Asaph 509.